want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
Are we off of it?
I'll let you do intro.
I don't know. What was it now then? What's your... Buckle up, buckaroos, you suicide riders. That's the one. Buckle up, you suicide riders.
Hold on tight.
Hold on tight. Don't shit the kegs. The louder you scream, the faster it goes.
That's
Welcome to the Chippy Tea podcast, episode 65, where we have a natter about the world of screen printing, in particular t-shirts, from myself, Danny D from Flip Street Pinko, and
Tony P, palm print.
what a wanker. And we're just going to have a little bit of a natter and a chat about what we've been up to this week. We've been Tony, I can assume, is back at home with his Christmas decorations up.
Yeah.
So my first question to you, Tony P, is quite simply, you've been away for, what has it been, 6 weeks or something? 6, 7 weeks?
About 6 weeks, yeah. I spent just before Halloween, so I've done Halloween and Thanksgiving over there.
Bloody hell. And you've just got home. What is the first thing you've gone to eat? Because you've been away from English food for a while, so you must have been craving summer.
There's only one thing, and it's a bacon, egg and mushroom sandwich.
Proper bacon sandwich.
Made at home. You can't have a bought one. I toyed with getting a bought one and getting it delivered, because apparently you can get anything delivered now.
You can actually, can't. It's a bit of a
deal. So even local baking shop will probably get me delivered. But no. So jumped in car, which I had to basically pick up and check like that because it was full of leaves. Because when I left, all leaves were on trees, and now all leaves are in my car. So I had to clear all them off.
Surprised it don't clean itself, to be honest, your car.
just about everything. He told me it wanted cleaning.
Bloody hell.
And then nip to Morrison's, get some scufflers.
Some scufflers?
Some scufflers.
I think you are posh.
They're not posh. My grandma used to make
you are
scufflers.
Victorian.
Oven bottom cake. Yeah, so and then bacon, egg and mushroom. Absolutely delicious. Just scoffed a lot now. It's one thing I miss. It's two things I miss.
You'd think we do bacon well in America. Like you see
they do bacon. They have
decent.
bacon. But it's, I don't know, our version, maybe it's a Yorkshire version as well. I think Yorkshire bacon from a bacon sarnie shop is just the best thing in the world. There's like middle bacon, which has got the chop on it, and back bacon, which is just long, thin straggles. And Americans love that. And it's like belly pork almost. And it's cut as thin as your skin. And then it's deep fried until it's black, and it's a test against your fillings, basically. So, they do bacon, and then they put maple syrup on it, so it doesn't really matter what it tastes of anyway.
I'll tell you what, though, I'll say this, though. I went to Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, and we went to a place called Albert Schloss or something for breakfast. Yeah. And I thought, it's the first time I've ever, I don't like this. I thought, do you know what, I'll go a bit American. I'll have pancakes, syrup, bacon and egg. And my God, it was unreal. So nice. So
it is. You don't want to eat again for the rest of the week, though.
No, you don't. Oh, I'm full for the rest of the day, honestly. It was a nice one-off, but I can understand if you're in America, that's all you get. Just a proper bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
Is what you want.
Proper bacon. Proper bacon, egg and mushroom.
This is what just happened. Hey up!
Well, mention the bacon.
Look at his lips as well. So you've ticked that craving off,
and a proper cup of coffee. Now, I have to be. If anybody from America is listening here, I apologise for this next comment, but your coffee stinks.
They're dead big on it, though, are they?
They're big on coffee, huge on coffee. But the majority of it is Americano, so it's black, and I'm not that keen on black coffee. And a lot of it's stewed, it's been there for a long time. So, especially if you're in hotels like I am. So, I'm not a coffee snob at all. I couldn't tell you where the beans came from or how we made them or anything. And I love instant coffee. You know, freeze-dried instant coffee. I know you don't drink it, but at home, freeze-dried instant coffee. Stick kettle on. Pour some full blue top milk on it. You know, full cream stuff, whole milk.
Oh, I know this semi-skimmed shite.
Non-semi-skilled, no. And so a proper cup of coffee made at home, and a bacon, egg, and mushroom sarnie. Yeah, with some brown sauce on it.
Brown sauce.
They put brown sauce on steaks over in America.
Do they?
Yeah, HP.
HP. Yeah, weird, aren't they? So
that's me not going back to America again.
So, in summary, have you got any major highlights of your 6-week process? Anything that sticks out that you think that would mean that? I'm really happy I went through that or taught somebody this or whatever.
I think overall, it was one of the most positive trips I've been on. Yeah.
Good.
From my point of view, I'm always looking for a wow moment, which is really selfish. But the wow moment is usually when I either show something they didn't know or explain something in greater detail, or 80% of the time it's throwing in a job on an MHM and it being in reg without them looking through the mesh. And
that's cool.
That's a wow moment, because we installed a laser, and we got a wow moment on 3 different presses. And then I got a text. I got a text back that said, what did she say? She basically texted me, and I mean, she don't know who I am. She didn't give me a number, she found me. And basically said, we've thrown 3 jobs in, and it's been awesome. Trying to find what she said. Can't even remember her name. Sounds bad. But, no, it's gone.
Basically, she said,
thrown another job in, 3 colour, not touched anything. This is the 3rd one. We hadn't touched the registration. And stop laughing at Doug. We've not touched registration, and it's been perfect, So there was that one. Then there was another one from a guy up in Canada that I taught last year. He sent me a text saying, give me some details. Like, this is awesome. What you've shown me is great. So really positive feedback from this visit, in that what we do is working and has value. And, as vain as we might be, we all need to know that, to hear that sometimes.
Of course you do. I think you can have a bit of... you need a bit of reassurance sometimes. You feel like you're a bit of an imposter or whatever. I don't know what the phrase for it will be, but...
It's imposter syndrome or self-doubt, but yeah.
I think you forget what your skill is, don't you? You forget what you do, and you forget the results it produces. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking, what is a job worth? And, it's just a box of T-shirts or a couple £100. But that couple £100 is 11 years of work. It took me 11 years to produce that box of T-shirts. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? But it's a fact, and it's true when you think about it. It took me 11 years to have the skill to produce that box of T-shirts to the level that I have. And, to the efficiency and the quality.
Well, now you've got a machine, you might get it done in 10, you lazy bastard.
Well, we'll fucking hope so soon. You like me, MHM? Don't know if I told you.
Oh, you never said. Have you got one?
Nice, that, isn't it? Yeah, so I got myself a nice new MHM from MHM Direct UK GB. And if you're in the market for screen printing and digital machinery, there's no better place than MHM GBD UK.
You really should have that written down somewhere.
I'm going to have to make a proper
wall behind you.
I'm not very good at ad-libbing.
Ad-lib, yeah.
Off at top at dome. Off at cuff. Not off at cuff. Not much of an off at cuffer.
No.
But yeah. But yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it? 11 years and you maybe ought to charge more. I'm joking. So your moment was installing CTS and just being able to basically chuck screens in and just crack on.
Yeah, basically, I've been to... I mean, this is why I love my job. I started in New York doing a seminar this seminar is one we did at Merch Ops.
Yes.
And it was... the seminar at Merch Ops was basically screen print 301.
Yeah.
So 301, because 101 is beginner and 201's intermediate and 301's advanced. So we're doing advanced screen printing. This is not how to print a T-shirt. This is not how to make money printing T-shirts like the books that you read.
No.
This is how to do a 6-colour wet on wet job when the customer's coming to pick it up in 3 hours and you've just finished making screens.
Yeah, I like that.
Educating people on squeegee choice, screen choice, colour order, pressure, flash times, ink selection, dryer selection, all these millions of choices that we make when we look at each job. And I'm still shocked, surprised that some places I go in, which are big, huge places, to make life easier, this is horrible, but to make life easier, they have removed some of the choices. Right. So I'll give you an example, an imaginary example. Guy starts a T-shirt print shop, does 11 years before he buys an auto because he's a bit scared. No, gets an auto, runs it, has everything working absolutely perfectly because he knows inside out the job of printing a T-shirt. Then he hires someone, and then he hires a team, and he gets a second machine. And his knowledge has been passed on to these guys, but they keep getting it wrong. So what he does is sets the presses, right, okay, I've set them as a generic number on pressure number 5.
Yeah.
The squeegees, you use this yellow one because it works 90% of the time on everything.
Yeah, so exactly where you're going with this.
Use this 5-degree angle because if it doesn't look enough, double hit it. And that set of instructions, which took me 3 minutes to impart, covers 90% of the work. Not to a high degree, but to an acceptable degree. Commercially acceptable degree.
Commercially acceptable, yeah.
So then what we get is, we're printing, we're getting shirts out the door, but nobody's learning, and it's not exactly the best way of printing a shirt. But it works. No. We get ink on shirts.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of that this visit. People who know, but are too busy to teach.
I can totally understand that. I can see where, let's just say I get somebody in to run this press on me. I could come in on a morning, set it up, because that is easier than teaching somebody how to do it. And I could easily fall into that trap myself. But then, like you say, as a growing business, that person then passes that skill, that diluted skill on. And skill dilution. Up to a certain level. And you find yourself running at a safety first, the most convenient. I suppose it's the most convenient way to run, but it isn't the most skilled and the most efficient, and it's not the highest level of quality that you can put out. But it's convenient for the person before the newest employee to teach them the path of least resistance.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So I've come across a lot of that, and when we've gone in and explained, it's been like, yeah, we know that. No, you know that, but you're no longer at the press, at the coalface. Yeah. You're down here doing something else. So it's a matter of educating the people who are doing this. And I always say, before we run a job, we need to know sort of 3 things. We need to know what is getting printed on. It's important before we even make the screens. We need to know what it's getting printed on. Because if it's getting printed on sweats, that affects our mesh choice. Let me find that button. I'll find that button. Wherever it is, I'm going to turn it off.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So, when I do it, a dog pops up. So, I need to know what I'm printing onto, number 1. Because that affects whether I'm going upper mesh or tight mesh, sweatshirt, polo shirt, polyester. Do I need to make a blocker screen? I need to know how many there are. Because again, this tells me whether I can cheat. If it's white flash white on 20 shirts, I'm only making 1 screen. If it's white flash white on 2,000 shirts, I'm making 2 screens, maybe 3.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I need to know what it looks like. I need a visual representation of where it's going to fuck me over today. Big open area of dark blue. Don't want that fucker. Right, fine tine details. I need to know what mesh to put all this stuff on, and it's important. And you'll be surprised how many shops I go in where the screen maker doesn't know what it's getting printed on, doesn't know how many there are, and some people are still using black and white visuals.
Really? Just to save ink, save money on colour. That's a bit dated, Diane. It's a bit.
I don't know.
That's a bit of a cost cutting.
Everybody needs digital access to the screen print order, which tells you how many there are, what you're printing onto, and what the design looks like.
You see a lot of bigger shops now adopt big tellies in the print area or whatever with the jobs, like plugged up to a laptop or something. It's just like a.
It's not big shops that do that. It's good shops that do that.
Yeah, fair point. I've got a telly. Do I tell you? That's what I do.
You said you were going to put one up.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Next to your whiteboard.
Yeah, I am a visual on here if I'm not watching horror films. It's actually caught me out, actually. You'd be surprised how simple a job can catch you out if you've not got that visual as a reminder. You just do something silly. I had a little 2p size W in a white circle. And mid-email, she'd changed it from a centre to a left chest badge. And of course, this dickhead printed them all in centre. So I ended up redoing that job. But if I'd have had the visual on my screen or on a piece of paper in front of me,
you'd have seen it straight away.
Instead of doing it by memory, because you do. I know first thing that came to head was Alex. Alex does a lot by memory, doesn't he? Because he's basically Rain Man.
Yeah.
But it's just, don't leave it to chance like that. Because even the smartest and most memory efficient of people can just miss something, So
yeah,
I don't think you leave anything to chance in this business.
You can't.
It will catch you out.
It'll just bite on ass. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's too costly. What you've used the phrase, we're in a destructive industry.
Yeah.
And it is.
It's a destructive process. Yeah.
Destructive process. One silly little, bugger, I forgot to do it this way instead of that way. Cost you hundreds.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
don't leave it to chance. You see a lot of people who have, so obviously the MHM X-Tie Plus or above by MHM GB Direct. Comes with its own little tablet to control.
Right, you're going to have to stop. Practice after me. MHM Direct GB.
MHM Direct GB.
That's the phrase.
UK Limited.
No, not UK Limited. Not GB Direct. MHM Direct GB. You don't even need the GB. That's just his website.
I know. Yeah. So anyway, it comes with its own tablet for controlling, but you'll often see people who have attached a secondary tablet, which will be with the visuals on as well. And then you've always got it in front of you. Can't help but you're constantly touching that tablet and it's above your head. I think that's a nice little hack.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question for you. The tablet's controlled by a USB. Can I put well, it's not controlled, so it's powered by a little USB cable that comes out of the box. Can I put an adapter splitter and put another cable in above it? Or is it asking a bit too much?
So there's no data runs down that USB. It's power, and just inside the MHM workings is a device that's looking for that connection. And if you unplug that connection, you cannot index. You cannot move the pallets.
So it can't be done.
For a safety point of view.
Fair enough. No, it was just a thought.
Could you put a splitter on there? Yes, as long as that is always receiving, is always connected to the base panel. Because I often tell the story that the people at MHM thought it would be a good idea to have that tablet mobile, walking around with it.
Yeah.
So that you could press the button from anywhere and control it from the other side of the press. But then, they never thought...
That's actually a really good idea.
It is, except when you go to like Las Vegas and you realise that if you give them a tablet, the next day it's on eBay or it's down Westgate somewhere for sale for a tenner.
Yeah.
Or the kids are playing Minecraft on it at home, or somebody posts it out in a box of t-shirts. So it's really got to be connected to press, otherwise it'll just walk on its own. It'll just disappear.
I tell you what would be a good upgrade, actually. Maybe one for MHM down the line. So obviously you've got this centre column, and the screen's attached by an arm to the front, and it does pivot. It moves across, and you can swivel. But if it were mounted above with like an angle down, and you could go all the way around press, do a full circle, that'd be really useful. Because then you've got that access wherever you stood, like you've just described.
I think the problem with that is a safety aspect. So the only point on the machine where you can get hurt is the triangle of death in front of you.
Yeah.
So that triangle of death in front of you, where you load and unload, that you have to see that be able to see that there's nobody stood there when you press the start button, production mode. If you take your control around the other side, don't forget you've got the smallest of machines. These machines go up to 24. That could be, you could be 3 meters away from the guy who stood just sort of picking up a box of tape or cleaning pedal, something like that. And you press production start and you basically make him 3 foot shorter.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Fair enough. Fair point. Safety first.
Yeah, there's a lot of safety aspects with a moving machine, a moving press, and that triangle of death that I explain it, which is like a safety working area. That's really the only place where you can get hurt on these presses. And I often tell people that the most dangerous item on that press is a roll of tape and a can of glue.
Sorry, I moved it. I thought I might have left it on, but
if you drop it, you're convinced you've got time to bend down and pick it up.
Yeah, no, not worth it.
It's really hard to get blood out of that concrete floor.
Yeah, I imagine. First week, I was terrified. Not terrified, but I was very on edge about going in and out, thinking, because I was new with machine, thinking, have I left it? Is it going to spin or something?
It moves fast, doesn't it?
Have I delayed it really slow or something and forgot to press stop? And you just don't want to be in between. Because if you're in between, it's coming round, whether you like it or not.
I've been stuck in them when I thought it were on manual and it's been on auto and I've stood in it. And somebody took a picture of me while they're doing it. So I've got an iPhone, iPhone Live. An iPhone Live of me getting fucking smashed by a machine.
They're fucking powerful. I can imagine it. Don't stop.
Well, it's a resistance motor, so that means
safety bars, I guess.
Well, until you hit the safety bar, the more resistance you give it, the more power it applies. So it tries harder to kill you.
Why did I buy this?
Until you're at a safety bar. But, there's only one small triangle in the entire of your factory where it can get you. Yeah, it won't come chase you. It won't run up steps after you.
No, when you're cleaning ink and stuff or topping ink up and stuff, just pull the cable out.
Pull the cable out, press emergency stop. Either one of them, it can't move.
Yeah.
Which you should be doing anyway whenever you enter it.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I'm getting there with it now. I'm feeling a lot better with it now. I think it's took a good 3 weeks, but now I can chuck a job in, much like I could upstairs, and get on. Not 100% there in terms of, I use the word finesse, knowing, finding my sweet spots, finding feel, obviously not physically feeling it, but knowing that when I put a job in, I can turn it up to 6 or 7 speed or whatever, and it will apply more ink. I was actually surprised, and maybe I've just got mixed up or forgot. I was running a job and it was white, print flash print, and I wasn't happy with the opacity of the white. There was still that little bit of graininess, and I turned the speed up to that 8, and then I got a whiter result. And in my head, maybe I've just got this confused. I thought slower was more ink.
It is. Slower is more ink, and faster is less ink. What you're doing is you're buttering it on top of the garment now. You're skimming it. You're just laying it on the top. So you're not pushing it into the fibres. So you're basically skimming it.
Yeah, that's it. Right. So that makes sense. I'm loving as well the fact that you turn a dial from 5 to 7 and you see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you pull a squeegee a little bit softer, you'll get a more opaque result. Yeah. That's all feel. But literally, it's a number on a dial, and you're like, turn it to 8.
You're quantifying it. Yeah, you're quantifying your results. You're putting a number to it, and it's good. It makes you understand everything more.
It does actually. Yeah, I think the fundamentals of screen printing, the basics of geometry, speed, angle, pressure, etc., etc. It's all very well and good and knowing it in your head, but when you're doing it by hand, feeling it, there's a little bit still that's just intuitive. Quite a bit of it, what I did upstairs was always intuitive, and sometimes I'd have a hard time explaining what I was doing differently. Hey up, mate.
Hey up, all right.
Not bad, you. Yeah. Just that one, I think it is. Yeah, sorry, mate. They usually don't get here till 12. Oh, actually, it's 12.
It is 12, yeah.
Oh, God. So, yeah, it's a little bit more intuitive on a manual rather than if I applied this number of pressure. You know what I'm saying? It's built something.
It's either bacon grease or water.
So yeah, I'm getting there. There's I think something that I do need to do soon though, and it'll probably be after next week once I've sort of finished printing for a year. I need to print a template out, and I need to register each screen to each other, and I need to work out on the film positioning unit. Let's say if I place my film at 5-inch, that will equate to a chest print. If I print it at 6-inch, that'll be a chest badge. 2-inch for a neck label, whatever. I need to work them out. I need to have it because I don't want to move my pallets up and down all the time, which is what I'm doing at the moment.
I've got that template, and I'll come and nip over and we'll do it together.
That'd be good.
Because I've actually got that. I've written that. Yeah, I've written that template out, and I've got it graphically.
You have sent me it. I have got that, but putting that to palette in right position, etc., etc. It's just something that I've just not had a chance to dedicate 3 or 4 hours to, just to be perfect, which I want to do.
I've got a script that'll put your crosses on it right place according to it as well.
Bloody hell, that'd be handy. I think
might put it on my website.
I would put it on for about 10.
Yeah.
I've got. I don't think I'll get to what you've just achieved in America multiple times, I'm sure, where we chuck a screen in and press go. But I'm sure by doing that, I'll get much closer to that point. And I'll chuck a screen in, and maybe I'll tweak it, and then I'll press go, you know?
Yeah, you'll get very, very close. The issue with your system is there's a big fucking silly squishy thing in the middle. That's
putting
you.
The film on.
Putting the film on, yeah. Wherever there's a human deciding the placement of the screen in relation to the studs, then your chances of getting it bob on perfect every time are dwindling because we are by definition not perfect. It's so hard even with a loop to get that absolutely perfect.
I'll just put 5/6 little strokes on.
Yeah.
We're joking, but people do that. People do just bump it up and up and up, don't they, to the point that...
I've just come from one that did exactly the same, and bleed between colours. So if you're on an automatic, because they've gone from manual to auto. If you're on an automatic press that's worth its money, then you should be using butt fit registration. So butt fit registration is where the 2 colours in the design sit perfectly alongside each other. No overlap, no choke, no bleed.
Yeah.
And we can achieve a little bit of bleed on press if we need to. But the chances are we don't want to. So when we do our artwork, the colours themselves that are touching should be buttered up to each other, butt fit, butt registration. And then the black that goes over the top no longer needs to have a bleed on it. The black that goes over the top that ties everything together should also be butt fit registration. Then that's the only way you can get the perfect clean line. Because we're printing wet on wet. We're not printing dry on dry. Wet on dry.
And then of course as well you can help that with channels in your white.
Gutters, channels, traps.
Gutters.
No, channels, gutters. reverse
canals,
traps,
dikes.
negative space, yeah, anything you want to call them. As long as where the two colours meet, underneath there is a gap for the colour to run into.
Yeah, it's something I need to just run past John really, because it's something that I'm in danger of disrupting now that I'm a little bit more restricted to flash print white. Because you don't want to fill those channels in. Do you know what I mean? There's a danger there. But it's not an issue. It's someone actually messaged earlier, yesterday I think it was, and they asked me if I'm having any trouble printing wet on wet, and is there a limit to what you can print wet on wet in terms of how many colours in a row can you print wet on wet? And obviously I passed him on to yourself.
So I found that my limit is 10 colours wet on wet.
Yeah.
Using straightforward plastisol, so Wilflex plastisol, sort of Genesis used to be called. I think it's Epic now. We could do 10 colours wet on wet quite easily because our machines only had one flash. We didn't have multiple flashes. So it was base white, flash, and then the other colours. And this is achieved again by mesh selection, colour order, and blade selection, and angle selection, and understanding what happens if you put a rock hard blade at the beginning of or in the middle of a colour sequence.
Yeah. I haven't run into any problems printing wet on wet yet. I think luckily I've had a little bit of knowledge off yourself getting the auto, and I've started on the right foot, I think, is a fair comment.
And you've only got a 2-colour machine, so you're not going to really. Yeah.
I've got a 6-colour machine now. So
yeah, you've had your flash put on, haven't you? Yeah, you've had your
now
flash
that
put
I've moved
back
the flash, I can use all 6 colours.
Multiple colours, good. Yeah.
The white it's white. I don't need 2 screens for white. I think I've got these hoodies here to print. That's half a pile, then there's another to go on top. About 200 hoodies. Today's a day where I really could have done with 2 white screens.
I would make 2. I would always make 2 white screens because it allows me to have different parameters.
Well, this actually brings me on quite well. Is that here or yours?
That's it, yours.
Can't tell. Couldn't tell if you had a truck in your kitchen or I had one outside on Crackhead Alley.
No, it's more likely to be in Crackhead Alley.
Probably. I didn't tell you about chuffing police escort and stuff, did I?
No, you told me the road were closed off, but I don't know what
happened. She cost me a fortune. Not that type of escort. Rope. Yeah, I got to work last week and I pulled into Toppert Road and cop cars had roped it all off or taped it all off and they won't let me pass. It was a crime scene and I said, oh, well, my work's there. I pointed at the door, so I need to get to work. And he said, look, take your van, go park, come back. I'll take all your details. And I have to record you walking down these double yellow lines, top to bottom. Don't sway off at double yellows. Follow double yellows line to your door. I'll record you going in. And then if you want to come back out, ring me on this number. So they did. So they had to escort me down. And
ow.
I mean, I don't know what happened. There's been rumours flying around all over Brid.
What's rumours? Come on, fuel the rumours.
I don't want to say because it's a bit dark. All I know is nobody got murdered. There were no chalk white outlines anywhere, so we can rule that one out. But yeah, so that was an eventful day. Crackhead Alley. Nice place to be.
Awesome.
Nice place to be. What were we saying before that?
How many colours can you print wet on wet?
Yeah, I've had no bother. No bother yet.
Making 5. A second screen for your white.
Making a second screen for my white. Yeah, so that's something. Now, because of the sequence of my flash, let's just say...
It does an extra revolution, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I don't want to do. But I do sort of need it. There you go, mate.
All right.
You all right?
Hey, good, how are you?
Not too bad. It's getting bloody cold now, isn't it?
Nice now. Today's alright. Yesterday.
See, mate. That is an issue.
He sounds like a knobhead that wears shorts in December.
He had shorts on.
You can just tell.
Did.
You can tell. I can tell he's one of them. It's not cold. He's got fucking hypothermia on his testicles.
He's got tank top and everything. Hey God. Now it is something that is. This actually leads on quite nicely actually onto two things I wanted to talk about actually. So if I'm printing Aquaflex V3 self-leveling, if I'm printing self-leveling,
yeah, I'm gonna say, if you want sponsoring by Magna, you're gonna have to start using their words. They're not gonna like V3.
I'm telling you, it's gonna take off.
Yeah.
And when everybody comes knocking on at Magna's door saying, "Can we order some of that V3?" You're welcome.
Use our discount code.
Use our discount code. Squeegee and ink. So I'm doing a lot of flash print with self-leveling. What my problem I'm having is I'm having to use flood print flood. Oh, sorry, no, it'd be print flood, flash print flood, because I can't tell my machine to print flood, and then the next revolution print flood. I can't tell it to do that. That would be optimal for me, unless I can reduce it now, which I suppose this is where the 5 hills come in, to print flood, flash print flood. I'm getting a more opaque one hit. But it goes against what sort of Magna recommend. You almost want that double hit. And it's what I've always done on manual. I want a double hit,
yeah. I want a double hit on my first one and a single hit on my top, which you can do if you have 2 screens.
This is, I guess...
Well, the whole point I was getting to is when you have one screen, you have to use the same print parameters, not just the number of strokes, but the same angle, the same pressure, the same blade, the same speed, the same off contact, everything the same. Whereas what I always find is that base screen has its own parameters, and then the top colour might want to be, if you want a crisper, cleaner, softer finish, you up the mesh count one. And then because you've upped the mesh count one, you now can't use the same blade, so you'll use a different blade. That different blade will require a different angle, which will require a different travel, which will require a different pressure. All those things eat into each other, so you have a set of parameters for your base and one for your top colour. When we use one screen, we lose that ability.
Yeah, do you know what? I suppose I was sort of, in my head, a little bit restricting that, because I was thinking, why... Basically printing both screens in one revolution, but that would mean the flash would have to be in between, in the middle of them, which I can't do. But then again, you run it on multi-print. You have a screen there and a screen there. It's only the first time around that it misses it. Do you know what I mean? Or is it going print round flash? Yeah, no, it's slowing it down a bit, isn't it? Quite a bit.
You're adding a revolution. So basically, you would be able to take it off in one revolution, or you have to take it off on the second revolution. So obviously halves your speed, but you would be doing that anyway if you had a colour on there.
Well, if I had a colour on there, and if I print flash printing, I would be doing that anyway.
Yeah. So
you know what? I've not lost all, have I really?
No.
Well, I have actually. Yeah, I've lost the chance of doing it once.
Yeah, you've gained an extra colour in your print, and the price you've paid for that is that every job, apart from a single colour job, goes round twice.
2 colour.
But a 3 colour went round twice, and a 4 colour. So you've only lost a small percentage. But you are paying the price, but you're paying the price in time. That's all.
Yeah, and time as well.
It takes around about a minute. Is your press on now?
Yeah, I can spin it.
Have you got an empty head? We know you've got an empty head. just turn head 1 on now when no squeegees are out in it, or whichever head's got no squeegees in.
Head 1, yeah.
Has it got no squeegees in it?
It is, but they're up.
No, we don't run it while it's up because it breaks it.
Oh, dear. Right, turn her off. Head 1 on. 1 print, 1 flood.
1 print, 1 flood.
Uh-oh. I can set it to preheat and then it'll just think it's going round.
No, because I want it to stop and print.
Oh, yeah, cost it.
So, no delay.
No delay, just set her off.
No delay. And press start.
You're going to count it down and time it? 3, 2, 1. Squeegee one's not in position.
That went well.
Ready?
Right, so have you numbered your pallets?
I have actually, yeah. So we're on number 5.
Okay, so when number 5 comes back to that position, we'll stop, yeah?
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, I've slowed my index down to 50.
Okay, let's go for it anyway.
So this is slow, but we'll do it. So, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh,
it is slow, isn't it? It's pitifully slow.
Well, actually, no, not like that. Don't scream it. It's bashing mechanism at back. Let me put a screen in.
No, don't put a screen in, just shorten print stroke.
Good shout. What's she done?
This will be the smoothest edit you've ever done.
Just let me set my limit so I don't smash my screen. That's it. Oh, hang on. Things you do.
Put your speed on 80.
That's not accurate, is it?
No, but it's normal.
Yeah, I'll keep it at 50. I don't feel like
No, keep it at
if I
50.
get stuck.
Keep it at 50 then.
No, let's keep it at 50 just because.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Actually, this
Because you've got all this.
Part of it is also going to link to our talk on adhesive a little bit later.
Okay.
I was getting t-shirts lifting and getting stuck under the screen and folding and printing. So I slowed it down a little bit. And this is going to come into a conversation about putting rubber on my pallets.
Okay.
But that's for later. Right, so we're on 50 auto, screen 1, print, flash print. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
So when number what?
8.
So we're basically nice and slow. You've got your index slow for your index is slow for your hoodies and your sweatshirts. And what we're back to?
This one's 7, so 1 more. There, go. 39 seconds. That's not bad, is it?
So when you're sending it round again, you're adding 40 seconds to the print run for every 8 shirts.
Yeah.
Okay, so, if it's 80 shirts, then you're adding 400 seconds, which is another 8 minutes. But 40 seconds to get 8 shirts out, it's still faster than you were pulling them by hand anyway.
100%. I mean, if you look at it in really basic terms, load a t-shirt, take a t-shirt off. Upstairs, load a t-shirt, swing a screen around, pull the squeegee, put it back, make sure it don't fall in ink, lift the screen back up, spin it round, get your next screen spin it round. That whole middle part, touching screens, is completely taken out. That in itself buys you quite a few seconds.
Yeah. So you having your flash there means that on a white flash white job, 8 shirts take you 40 seconds longer to do than someone else.
Yeah, probably sounds about right.
So if you put a flashback into its normal place and add white flash white, the guy next to you will be running his job 40 seconds for 8 shirts faster. So it's not a big price to pay.
It's
to
not.
have them go around twice. People think, it's inefficient, it's inefficient. Yeah, it is. It is completely inefficient. But it's only adding 40 seconds to 8 shirts.
Yeah, I suppose. It's not ideal. I would prefer it the other way.
That's 5 seconds. 5 seconds a shirt.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's having a 5 second delay on.
I mean, for me, that's really not a drama.
It's not. right, if you're in a shop that's set up to do 40,000 pieces, right, and you can't go home till they're done, it's a fucking big deal.
Issue.
It's a massive big deal.
It's a game stopper.
But where you are, and you're still sort of printing relatively small runs, then it's not really a big issue at all to take an extra 5 seconds.
I prefer not to, but like I say, I've weighed up which would I prefer to lose a colour or would I prefer to slow it down a notch?
Mm.
And honestly, with this dryer, I think if I had two screens, I'd probably find myself stood at dryer waiting for it to run through anyway. So I really haven't lost anything yet. Ask me in 12 months, and it might be a different story.
Yeah, when your work changes, it's all about how efficient you are and how fast you can get stuff out the door. I'm looking at somebody's Instagram today, and it was like, we started the job this morning, the courier's come in at 12, and this were at 10:30.
God.
I'm like, Jesus. I mean...
That's Alex every day, that, to be fair, isn't it?
Well, that were like Alex anyway, but yeah.
It was, yeah. God, I can't. I just couldn't put myself in his... In fact, I've
got to get these shirts out by 12 and open a pizza shop at 12:30, so see you later. Won't be long.
I've got no idea if a donut shop coming in.
I'm just going to have a coffee, yeah.
Oh, and somehow I managed to get to the gym as well before. Honestly. We all could do with that little bit of Alex. If Alex could just bottle it up and
we need to clone him, don't we? We could just illegally, like Dolly the sheep, they made loads of them. It'd be like Alex, the printer.
Do. Yeah.
You'd be able to go online and just keep swiping across. Chessie, no. Alex, yeah, I'll have that one.
Take that, Chessie. You'll go to the shop and just pick a can of Alex off.
Yeah. Monster,
I reckon I could go 7 jobs today.
Alex, yeah, I'll have some Alex. Bing!
Yeah. Bless him. So, what do you think to my idea of sticking rubber on my pallets? Shall I tell you why?
Go on, I'd love to know why.
I think, and I don't know yet, I'm not fully convinced myself. I think the honeycomb pallets are dissipating heat a little bit too good for me, for my speed of print on my flash and the power of my flash dryer. And I think as a result, the adhesive is not as tacky as long if it's cooling down a bit too quick. And I think I'm finding when I'm flash printing white, that second stroke, which I can resolve with using 2 screens. But if I'm using 1 screen and I'm flash printing, because I'm double stroking, that second stroke after the flash,
lifting up.
Yeah. Now I don't know if that's because it's drying up in the screen, or if it's not hot enough that the ink's not quite as printable. But I've just got a feeling that putting rubber on would help retain heat.
It's sort of, yeah, I mean...
I know it's not typically done.
You are sort of right. What we've got is the reason that the presses are made and the reason you're using one, and they're completely miles apart.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
The presses were made, and the process, screen printing process, this mass reproduction, this whole process was invented to get as many identical prints out the door as possible. And early 80s to mid 80s, that's all they did. There was no finesse about them at all. They just performed a repetitive task from 8 in the morning till 10 at night. That's all they did. Well, the industry's changed. There are more of you in England. There are more of people using a press like you than there are using a press that it was actually originally invented for.
Yeah, all right.
So something has to change. We used to have rubber. If you buy an American machine, ideally an M&R, you don't even get the option of not having rubber top pallets.
No.
But the rubber top pallets are there to protect the surface, to retain a little bit of heat, because if we try and retain heat with solid metal, so your old Anatol, you get the top layer of the metal gets really super hot, but the bottom layer underneath doesn't get hot, and we get this contraction of the surface which bends the whole thing. Yeah. So rubber top pallets dissipated the heat a little, so that it's not as intense, and they stored a little bit of heat. The downside is they don't give us nicer print, because you've got a rubber, you've got the surface that you're printing onto now gives a little. Yeah. And so they're designed for mass production with lots of heat and absorbing all the everyday shit that a high production facility will throw at it, including being thrown around the factory, including being sat on, including having a dog sat on. Well, all these things. When we switch to super thin aluminium, super thin aluminium,
you need that rubber, don't you?
That rubber protects them, but now we lose that finesse of being able to print on a super flat, perfect surface. So we get a texture to our prints. Would the consumer realise? No, absolutely not. No way at all. Because if the consumer would realise, M&R would never sell another press. And if it was such a fantastic conception and idea, M&R would never sell another press. Nor would Anatol. Nor would KTK. Nor all these places that use a rubber top pallet. So they become now a thing of choice. And you can buy MHMs with rubber top pallets, not a problem at all. You can order them to start with rubber top pallets. I had a customer specifically request rubber top, high temperature pallets, rubber top pallets, and they're black. Right. They're not even white. They come through as black.
Oh, interesting.
This is to stop any delamination, because when we get above like 220 degrees on the pallet Celsius, we start to get delamination of the glue. So we have to use a high temperature glue to hold the rubber pallet down. It affects your off contact, so you've got to be careful with that, because it adds an extra sort of like 2 mil.
Yeah, I guess your starting point is
now 2 rather than 0. Yeah. But yeah, it can protect the pallet, but it gives a little bit of sponge back on the print.
It does, yeah. Yeah, and
which some people like. I'm not saying it's wrong. Some people like that, especially if you've always had a blue or a red machine.
Yeah, it's just something that I've got a gut feeling about, that I feel that I would have an easier time with rubber, just because of my very specific circumstances of having a flash that's underpowered. Essentially, it's probably not. I mean, if most flashes are 2 or 3 seconds, mine's 10. So it's very underpowered, and by the time it's coming back around, it's very touchable, very lukewarm at best. You know what I mean? So for cooling, spot on, because that empty station there, if my white prints flash cool plastisol top colours, no problem, because it's cool pretty quick. But sometimes you need that heat. You need to make your ink print properly. You need a bit of ink. I mean, there's certain water-based inks that you have to have there's a temperature range.
There's a window between 60 and 80, yeah. And your pallets need to be between 60 and 80. And if you can't get them there, or if they fall below that, then you have a problem. And I know this because I had this problem with those fucking jute bags, if you remember, with the Union Jack on. I ended up standing there with a heat gun, heating the pallets up as they walked past me. Just to get some heat in the pallets. It's not that we're losing it, it's just that they weren't, on every revolution, it wasn't adding to it, it was maintaining it. And if I slowed it down, that meant the frequency was decreased. So they had more time to cool down on the way back round. So if I speed it up, believe it or not, a 2-second flash got the flashes to temperature quicker than a 10-second flash, because it was increasing the frequency.
That's right, yeah. So this is where...
If you flash for 2 seconds, and you flash for 2 seconds every second, or you flash for 10 seconds, that means the other 7 pallets are all cooling down for 10 seconds times 8.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm noticing. And don't forget as well, I'm loading and unloading myself.
Yeah, you're
which
running
is
slow,
much double slow compared to any other print shop. So maybe if it was 2 of us loading and unloading, it'd be flashing at an higher frequency, and the temperatures would the pallets that stay at a higher temperature, not so much of an issue. But because it's me taking the shirt off, putting it through dryer, coming back, putting another one on, I feel like there's enough downtime there for the pallets to lose temperature quickly, which is what they're designed to do, which is great for an high production shop, which is what that machine is built for. It's doing exactly what they're supposed to do. It's just I'm under a very set of specific circumstances, and I'm trying to achieve something a little bit outside of what it's made for, really. And I'm having to compromise, and potentially putting rubber on would be a compromise that might help me in my very specific circumstances.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it might.
Yeah, so something to think about. Maybe.
How are you going to put rubber on them?
It's not something I've ever done, so I guess I assume it's something that you get as a sheet that's pre-backed. I know you can buy the glue, but I'm sure they sell pre-backed sheets, and you just...
You can get, you remember the contact adhesive, Bostik sort of contact adhesive?
Yeah.
You can put contact
like real
adhesive.
thick tar.
Yeah, and you put that on each one.
Right.
And then you let it dry, and then you put them into contact with each other. And then you trim the rubber off. If I were you, what I'd probably do is I would look at the pre-stick ones from maybe Screen Print World or from Action Engineering, something like that. Your pallets are 800mm deep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They are, yeah. So 800mm, no, long.
No, but not that thick.
800mm long. So are you going to put rubber all the way to the back?
No, there's no point. I think as long as it goes... Oh, actually, to be fair, what you don't want is your squeegee going clipping. So I guess the answer is yeah. And I pushed the limits of what I can print size-wise.
So you won't find a pre-cut sheet like that.
So I might even have to buy a roll.
So you probably have to buy a roll and glue. My advice would be to put pallet paper down first.
And put the rubber on top of pallet paper.
That way, if you do change your mind, you're not ruining your pallet.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. This was a consideration. Was applying rubber going to destroy the surface of the...
It doesn't destroy the surface as in chemically, but getting it off, you won't get it off. I've tried.
Absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So that's a good shout then. So pallet tape, rubber.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
And what I would do is probably buy some of the 20-inch sheets that go on an M&R, like from Screen Print World, and with the peel-off back, and seeing how you go with that. Because you've got V-neck pallets as well.
I have, yeah.
But your print area is, because you've got 23 by 31 screens, so your print area is never going to be more than 16 inches anyway from the front of the pallet. So I'd lay it level with the pallet and then trim it with a Stanley knife on the V, and then you've got it probably around about 16 inches back.
18
inches back.
Yeah, I did an 18-inch print.
Did you?
I had literally like a millimetre higher, and it would be bashing into back mechanism. And it was a bit of an accident that I got it right. But literally a millimetre either way.
There's a couple of cheats there.
Get longer screens.
Well, the longer screens help. Turning the squeegees around so it prints from centre to outwards gets you an extra ½ inch.
Centre to outwards.
So, you've got your squeegees, you've got your rubber at the front and the metal at the back right now.
I did swap it.
So you swapped it around so it printed from the centre to outwards.
Why do you say the centre? It printed from the top to the bottom.
It printed from the bottom of the shirt to the neck.
All right then, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the centre got to do with it?
Centre at press.
All right.
The centre at press is in middle. It's a circle.
You've lost me. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right, I get you. I think you meant the centre at screen.
Centre of your press. Yeah. Where circle is it?
The back. So basically, it started at the back and went to the front.
Started at the back and went to the front, yeah.
Good God.
So then you gain a little bit of extra space because you can avoid that
The mechanism
that mechanism at the back. And if you look at those bolts, you can actually undo those and turn them round at the back.
Right.
You know, at the back?
Yeah.
Where the clamp is, in the centre.
Yeah. Right.
You can turn them round and get another extra half-inch.
I'm not going to.
No, you don't need to.
I don't want to void my warranty.
Plus, you can also set your artwork. I tell everybody 4 inches. You can do it at 3. But then your angle can't be more than 5.
Yeah, that was another thing. If I angled it too far, you've run out of space.
Yeah.
So
I tell people 4 inches. I tell people 4 inches for safety, or 120 mil. But you can get away with 100 mil.
Yeah. I mean, I think the answer is just to get longer screens. If you print, I think what I'll probably do is I know Alex, because you mentioned it last week, and actually Sarah mentioned it as well. Sarah swapped out all her screens to 33.
33 inches long. Yeah.
Yeah. So now oversized for them is 20 inch. They can print 20 inch.
Mm.
And I just squeezed 18 inch on a normal 2131 or 2331, whatever.
2331.
2331. So I can squeeze, and I don't really plan on doing it again. I'd sooner just bring it in half an inch. So let's just say 17 inch for the sake of it. I could do 18, but let's do 17 to be on the safe side. On a normal screen, what I'll probably do, I'll probably just get a set of 10
oversized screens.
Oversized screens, yeah. Because I don't want to be doing oversized every single screen. It's about £6 worth of screens to replace.
Yeah.
So
I like extra emulsion.
I'll just get an oversized set, and if anybody asks for a real big print, I can do it.
Yeah.
But it's not every day you do that, so for me anyway.
No.
I think if you're in band industry, you probably will do it loads because they love that big oversized graphics.
Fashion goes like this. So, at one point, fashion wanted small, unique centre, and then they went really big, and then they'll come back small again. At one point, glitter was in fashion, then it goes out. Puff right now is hugely in fashion.
It does seem to be.
I have no idea why, but everybody certainly is loving Puff. I'm getting more questions about Puff expanding ink than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what's quite impressive. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Puff transfers. It's in the vinyl that you press and it puffs up. That's so impressive.
Yeah,
I think if you could avoid messing about with ink, that's one of those occasions where I think transfer wins a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it hands down.
It puffs under the press. I think we've spoke about it on here before. I saw it in America last year, and I thought, "Oh, this is good," because it's a flat sheet that you cut, and then when you press it, it puffs. I'm like, "Oh, I like that."
But it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect as well. You don't get
perfect. Yeah, no
bobbling, no wrinklings. You don't.
No, the edge
you don't
is
have to
perfect.
mess about changing your dryers.
No.
Oh, this shirt's puffed, but the next one and none of that shit.
Yeah, the main thing with puff is because it relies on heat, and too much heat and it flops. Not enough heat and it doesn't rise in the first place. So you've got to get that sweet spot, and it's just on the edge of curing. So somewhere about 150 to 155, just on the edge of where it cures, and then it puffs. And if you keep it in there for an extra 60 seconds,
it gels and shrinks.
It flattens down. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's very difficult.
And then getting the ink right. There's an additive and there's a base. So additive you add to, and a base you start from. Don't do all that way, does it?
Splash, splash, splash.
Was it a love art?
Oh, bless. I don't feel the same way about it.
Can't remember any others.
Oh, God. It's a difficult one. It's something I used to do. And I got to the point where I did enough jobs that I was like, I'm over it. And I had a couple, because it was so rare, I got asked at the time, maybe once a year. I said, nah, I can do it. But I think if I ever got asked for it now, I'd really would consider just using the vinyl. Even if it's screen print, then vinyl for the finishing touches, I'm sure you just do such a better job for a fraction of a headache.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what else I got sent as a sample: reflective transfers. So reflective is something that I must get asked twice a year And it's easy, it's always these brands that are starting up that have thought, oh, it look cool, reflective, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. But the ink in itself is about 900,000 grand, and you need a 2-part. And I don't really want to spend that much on a pot of ink, on a kilogram of ink, to do your one fashion shirt, and then never see it again. And by the time I use it again, it's separated anyway, and it's a gothic bin. So the inner text switch. Oh, there you go. Bedtime.
Spam.
Bloody spam. So yeah, they sent me some reflective. And actually, that's something where I think if you get asked for that, just get some transfers made.
So
anyway.
here's my take on reflective, because I used to use reflective back in the day when they weren't even colour, it were only black and white, and it was a 3-part system from 3M. The 3-part system had the reflective little eyeballs, the grey powder that it went into, and then a catalyst that coated the eyeballs clear. And you had like about 3.5 minutes to use it all, otherwise it went bad. It cost more than my first house, and it wasn't great to use. It used to eat screens also. The last time I used reflective, if we fast forward 150 years, the last time I used reflective was Reflective SB from Magna, and it was cheap. It was 1 part, and it was the best reflective ink I've ever used.
You see, I'm sort of drawing off of the last time I used it, and it was a Plastisol. I can't remember what brand it was, but it was a big brand.
3M. You can only get it from 3M.
Yeah, it was so thick. It wasn't actually 2-part. I was sort of exaggerating earlier on. But it wasn't a 2-part. It was a bucket of reflective, and it was thick, so thick. It was like clay. And I thought,
it didn't work. It wasn't good.
I don't know. I didn't get that far. It won't
So,
go from screens. The
reflective from Magna, I found, is the best I've seen because, number one, it works. Number two, you can colour it up. So you can have grey reflective, pink reflective. And it didn't have a shelf life. But it wasn't cheap. It was still expensive. But most of all, it worked. We did some Formula E pit stop stuff.
I remember this story now.
Yeah, and it was ace. It really, really worked well.
So maybe that's something to have a go at. I don't know. Like I said,
contact your local Magna Colours dealer.
Let me tell you about Magna Ink in a couple of episodes when they decide to sponsor us.
Magna Colours. You've got to start calling them Magna Colours now.
Well, you know me. I like to come up with my own names for these things. So you're back home. You chilled out. Please tell me you're having a few days at least before you get back into somebody else's shop.
Tuesday, I'll be in Austria.
Oh, God.
Hey, it's better than it was because I was supposed to land on Monday into England and then fly straight back out on Tuesday. The flights were so close, I considered staying in the airport rather than even leaving the airport and coming home. So the way this has worked out, it's Thursday I'm home. So I got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's like full 4 days of doing that. Don't know what I'm going to do.
It's not bad, is it?
And then Tuesday back in Austria, I'm off to go see, what's the name of your machine? Where'd you get it from?
MHM X-Type Plus from MHM Direct GD.
So I'm going to Austria where they make those. Go see them and catch up with them guys. See if there's anything we can do over there. And then I'm home until January, Long Beach.
Oh, good. Oh, that's a nice break then, isn't it?
I've got a couple of English jobs to do. One for a guy in Birmingham, one for somewhere else, and one I've completely forgotten about, which I'm going to have to ring and say, did I promise I'd come see you?
We've got an episode to record.
Yeah.
In a pub somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll just bring the pub to us.
Yeah. So I'll come and see you. And then that'll be my 55th flight of the year.
That's outrageous. I can't even imagine.
Greta Thunberg must hate me, mustn't she? She'll be following me around saying, do you know what? You're in my future. How dare you?
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
So, yeah, and then we've still got Christmas and New Year in the middle. And back out to Long Beach.
Long Beach. And then not too long after that, Vespa.
Vespa Amsterdam,
There might even be one before that. Is Birmingham before that?
Yes.
Were you bothered to go to that one?
I think I'll be in
Not so
America
much.
then. I think I'll still be in America.
No.
Depends when it is, whether it's February or March.
I'm not going to go, but do you know what? I think I might go just to see AS Colour.
Yeah.
Me and Guy, AS Colour. I like him. Bit of a bromance going on. So
I like AS Colour. They're one of my favourite shirts, I must admit. They're
honestly,
good quality
God,
shirt.
I mean this as well from the bottom of my heart. If I could exclusively print AS Colour, I would, to be honest. Not to single out any other garment brand, but I just like AS Colours. Are perfect for my needs.
Before we go any further, we have to actually call it out. Is it AS Colour or is it Ass Colour?
Ass Colour.
Well, it's your ass colour. It's like...
Have you changed your ringtone in a while?
Boom! Knock it straight out of the park.
I beat you to it, didn't I? I beat you to your own joke.
Yes, they will
God.
forever be known as that ringtone company.
Flipping now. Honestly, I lost sleep over that joke. I just wake up at midnight at night, like, I start pissing myself.
Not even mine. Stole it from someone.
No. Well, most jokes are, aren't they? Hey, dear me. So
what have you been doing, Danny? I haven't asked you anything about what you've been doing.
I know. Well, I thought I'd got away with it. What have I been doing? Just getting my head around press, cracking on with jobs, trying to catch up, failing, if we're honest. I've got a week left. What are we on? Friday. So next week is basically the last week of printing. Mm. If anything leaves them doors any later than Friday, the customer can't get the parcels out themselves to their customers. So it's full-blown, full steam ahead next week, finish the year off, get everything out the door, hope to God I don't set anything on fire or double print a folded shirt or flipping drop it on floor and it all these silly little things that I've been doing because I'm trying to work stuff out as I go. Hope everything runs smoothly.
Is your dryer still upstairs?
Which one?
Your dryer.
Tunnel?
Yeah.
Tunnel dryer? No, it's under this laptop.
Is it? All right.
Oh yeah, I sorted that out a while ago. I've not been print. I mean, I have been. I did do a couple of tote bag orders, which I ain't got pallets for. So I'm printing them upstairs, running down, running through this dryer. I tell you what, I got my steps in.
Fuck.
I got up scales the other day. I've lost half a stone.
That's just from
not
that
trying
job.
to.
I found it. Don't you worry.
Job. It's the old that thing upstairs. The dilemma of what to do with that is
end of an era.
Back and forth.
You've got an emotional attachment to that press, haven't you?
A little bit. It's useful still because I ain't got the pallets to do everything I need to do, and I do all right with tote bags. Tote bag orders I do quite well with, so I think really the sensible thing to do is just flog it and buy some tote bag pallets. Probably more cost effective.
Tote bag and sleeves. You need tote bag, sleeves, and adults. You need 3 sets of pallets for every press.
Sleeves are a pain in the arse, because I maybe get 5 or 6 sleeve orders a year, and all of them have come this Christmas, and I can't do them.
So just buy 4 and miss every other pallet.
All right.
Press skip.
Think of that.
Print one, press skip. Print one, press skip. Print one, press skip.
Sounds like a lot of work.
I'll put 4 on together.
Yeah, I guess you could do that, couldn't you? I don't think so. I think what I'll probably do is I'll probably flog the manual, use money to get some tote bags as a priority because that's what I do the majority of. Over compared to sleeves anyway. And then if I've got enough left, I'll get some sleeves. But if not, just get it next year. Flog something else to pay for it. I don't know. If I'm going to invest in something, I like to sell some old crap that I don't use to cover the cost. Do you know what I mean? But sort of run out of stuff to sell, so apart from a manual. Anybody wants
your soul, but you've got that one's gone as well, hasn't it?
Oh, that's well out of India. My soul and a kidney.
It's behind you.
Sold my soul to MHM. Oh dear. So, shall we knock it on, Ed?
Yeah.
I've actually got loads of notes left, but it's all right. We'll carry it on to next week.
No, I'm good. I don't know how long we've been going.
Done about an hour and a half.
I'm good, yeah.
Somebody's constructive criticism was that we should do shorter episodes.
Okay, let's do a shorter episode. Fuck 'em then.
Don't like that. I feel like I'm told what to do now.
I've got my shirt. Can you read it?
What shirt you got on?
Can you see what it says?
Something about being sure. I can see the word Printco.
Obscure.
Obscure
Print Co. Went to help them a while ago. I got a shirt.
Oh, bless.
So cool. Big shout out to Obscure guys.
Nice design. I'm due to do some flipping sweet shirts, some Chippy Tea shirts. Get next week out of the way, and I'll do some.
Now it doesn't do it. Oh, there it is. Look.
There it is. So let's knock it on, Ed. Episode 55. You can sign us out, seeing as well you put me through that arduous task.
65.
Juicing it. Oh, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll wrap it up. It's been episode 65. We've been listening to me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
Danny D, Flipping Sweet Print Co.
There you go. I can't do silly arse noise. So you know when you're calling an arse to you, it's that noise. There you go. It's that one. It's that one. Yeah, I see biscuit. So you have been listening to us prattle on about screen print-ish for last hour or so. If you do like what you hear and see, then don't forget to give us a follow, a like, and a subscribe on all the usual suspects. YouTube if you want to see us, Spotify if you want to listen to us, and no, that's it. There isn't any more.
That's it.
Yeah. We are always available on Instagram, at Palm Print and at Flipping Sweet Print Co.
And at Chippy Tea.
At Chippy Tea. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. If something you want us to discuss, Danny taking on a new press. There's a myriad of subjects there, going from manual to auto, and anything to do with screen printing and all that crap. Let me know. Leave us a comment, leave us a question, and we'll get back to you, and we might even cover it in an episode. You never know, we might even ring you up and you can come on and join us.
Yeah, we haven't had a guest in a while, have we?
No, it's time we had some more. So
get a guest on.
Until then, I'll see thee.
I'll see thee. All best. I've always wanted an os, you know.
An os?
You know what I'd call it? An os. Always wanted an os. You know what I'd call it? And I've said this since I was a kid. And I only want an os for the purpose of calling it Jerry Springer. Doesn't that sound like a good os name, Jerry Springer?
Jerry Springer the os, yeah.
It adds up, doesn't it? Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.